Hey guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we are going to be taking a look at Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Hey, Editing Lee here. Just a little update. Just went to record the footage for the review and this happened on my video capture card. It's been about an hour now trying to work it out. Can't do it. So the footage you'll be seeing will be Sony's own footage that I've scraped from YouTube. Sorry, I would like to put my own footage up, but these things happen and I might need to buy a new capture card. If any of you guys know what's going on with it, let me know down below and save me some damn money. Cheers, guys. Now, I will come clean right at the start of this video and say this is the first Ratchet and Clank game I've ever played. I wasn't initially going to get it, because it's not been a series I've been into. I've always looked at it as a cutesy platformer, and it's 70 quid because it's PS5 exclusive, and for some reason they want you to pay £70 for them. Thanks, lads. But then I thought, I've been lucky enough to get a PS5, so I should probably review it for you guys because, you know, love you guys. So I got it, and I do not regret getting it. It is a fabulous game. It really is. I would highly recommend it. You know me, if you've seen the channel for any length of time, that I'm not very good at platforming. The platforming elements are there in this game, but they're not abusive, sort of pixel perfect platformers. So I can generally do alright. Maybe, you know, I'll fall off occasionally, but, you know, I'll get back up, try it again, and usually do it on the second time once I've understood what I'm supposed to do. So it's not too bad at all. There's also a lot of combat, a lot of different weapons that are upgradable. It's just a fabulous game, and it looks really good. I'm very impressed by the fidelity of the game. The footage you're seeing is in performance Rtx mode. So what that is it's 60 frames per second with RTX. Now it's not like full-blown RTX, but it definitely it is noticeably RTX. That it's not sort of like Cyberpunk on max settings on PC kind of RTX, but you can tell that there's RTX elements in the reflections, definitely. Now, how does it do it? Because it's a PlayStation 5, man. It's not like a PC with a 3090 and a bazillion core AMD processor in it. It does it by changing the resolution, essentially. When you've got the performance mode on, it's sorry, I should say performance RTX mode, it dynamically changes the resolution. So the lowest it will go, this is not my numbers, I'm quoting from other sources that I've had a look at, is apparently 1080p, but generally speaking, it will actually stay at 1440p. Now 1440p, 60 frames per second, with RTX elements, that's good going. You know, for my rig, that would be good going. I'd be pleased with that. So you've really got to say to yourself, oh, I don't know. I don't know how it does it. I'm actually quite impressed by the fact that it's able to do that, because it's a console. What's it doing? Get back down there. Stay in your station, boy. But yeah, it's really good. It's from Insomniac Games, who have previously done the Spider-Man games and remastered them both. So it had similar settings for that as it does for this. So the storyline is, as I say, I haven't played any of these before, so I will just tell you the storyline as I'm aware of it from this game. So Ratchet is the last Lombax in the universe, and he has a robotic partner called Clank. And Clank comes up with the Dimensionator, which is a gun that opens rifts between dimensions so he can go and look for other Lombaxes who apparently have been scattered throughout the dimensions. And I think Dr. Nefarious is his name. Yes, it is. I said a thing about that. Turns up and steals it, and during the sort of battle for the gun, it gets hit and opens up a whole bunch of rifts, and things get a bit screwy, and you end up in a different dimension where there's another Lombax called Rivet, a female version of Ratchet, and you play the game switching between the two. As you go from planet to planet, each planet is earmarked for one of the two characters, And each planet is really different from the others. You'll get some that are open world. These ones remind me a lot of Super Mario Odyssey, and there's a lot to do in them in terms of collectibles. You can get armor, and this action platformer does something which some RPGs don't do, in that the armor that you equip physically is represented on the character, and it has armor sets with additional bonuses for wearing all 3 parts. So you're just like, you didn't need to do that, but you did it, and that's great. That's amazing. I like that. The weapons upgrades you get, I can't remember the name, but there's a specific element you get around the place, and each one of those represents one weapon upgrade you can put on. Now it's your standard stuff like extra ammo in the clip or penetration, stuff like that. It does do it in an interesting fashion, in that as you upgrade your gun, as you use your guns, they will level up and give you access to more of the upgrade grid. And then you'll see these gold ones, and you can't actually upgrade the gold ones. You're like, well, what are they? And then what you have to do is you actually have to get all the upgrades around the gold ones, and they will unlock. And generally speaking, they will be a lot more powerful than your regular upgrades. So it's really nicely done. You pick up bolts, which are the coin of the realm, if you like, and take it to a weapon vendor that turns up to buy all the different weapons. And there are so many weapons. So many weapons, in fact, the weapon wheel has to have 2 pages to it. That's how many weapons we're talking. And this ranges from your standard blast gun and shotgun, stuff like that, to drills that seek targets, to mushrooms that float about shooting things. It can actually get to the point where you almost fight like a controller, like from City of Heroes. So you've got like your minions doing most of your work for you, which is incredible. The platforming is fun, which is the good side of 4 on platforming, because a lot of the time platforming can be irritating rather than fun, which is something that I've often encountered, and probably has earmarked my my bias against platformers and why I haven't played these games before. There are missions where you play as Clank. I had to think of his name. Which almost come across as like lemmings, in that you have a stream of like clanks going through the level, and you need to alter the properties of the level to get them to the end point. So it's really good, really nicely varied. Even, as I say, between the planets, a lot of the planets are like, they can be industrial and sort of corridor-like, but with branches, and other ones can just be massive open deserts where you get different methods of traversing. Like you could be riding this winged alien, or you get hover boots or something along those lines. And it's just a fantastic game. It's super polished. It looks fantastic. It's a lot of fun to play. And I could not be more happy that I actually went out and bought it. Because, as I said, I wasn't going to. It was only sort of, oh, well, it's kind of like the PlayStation exclusive. This would be the one they announced first, the one that was sort of supposed to be a system seller. So I figured, like, I better get it just to tick that box, make sure I can like look at the PlayStation 5 from its best angle. And it's a fantastic game. It super is. I don't know whether or not I would purchase a PS5 purely to play it. But it certainly is a good thing to have if you have one. Definitely. And if you're going to upgrade to a PS5, it's one of those games that you should really get. I mean, I like it a lot more than I did Returnal, because that did have the frustration elements in it for me. I mean, there's a setting that's actually lower than the one I'm playing it on, where you just can't die. So, okay. I mean, that I looked at it, I was like, that's just a little bit too easy even for me. So we won't use that one. But yeah, I mean, I haven't died very much. I mean, the combat itself is quite varied. You get a lot of different guys. They tend to you tend to get the same sort of ones from different factions. So each faction will have a melee guy, a regular trooper, like a minigun guy, stuff like that. So you can, so even though you may just have encountered a faction, you're like, oh well, this is the guy that tries to bash you, kind of thing, and you're like, okay, I know how to deal with you, even though, you know, this is the first time I've seen this particular faction or what have you. And you do have faction gear as well, like space pirates. You get space pirate gear, and if you know, it reduces your damage you take about them. So if you want to, if you need to, I should say, you could change up your armor set to deal with whatever bad guys you're facing. And there's another set which sort of gives you more bolts for collection and stuff like that. I really like it. It's such good fun. It's really well written. I like both characters. I mean, a lot of the time when you get like a palette swap, which is generally what it is. I mean, yeah, it's also a gender swap, but it doesn't, you know, they're both kind of androgynous because they're kind of like rabbit-looking aliens, so it doesn't really make any difference to me. But when you just have like the same character done different, it can sometimes be like, well, I don't want to play as that one. No, it's a cheap imitation. I want to play as the other guy. I don't know whether it's because it's my first Ratchet and Clank game, but it doesn't feel like that for... I just can't remember her name again. Oh well, I'm terrible at names. Rivet! There you go, Rivet. So you don't feel that when you're playing as Rivet. She feels just as justified in being there as Ratchet. So, yeah, I mean, if you got a PS5, it's a no-brainer. You should pick it up. If you're like firmly against, I mean, it is cartoonish. So if you really don't like cartoonish games, then okay, I get it. I mean, it was a concern coming in for me as well, but I mean, I thoroughly enjoy it. I really do. Is it worth getting a PlayStation 5 for? No, but I mean, if you're looking at PlayStation 5 games anyway, then you're probably intending to either get one or have one. You know, supply being what it is, maybe you can, but certainly if you're able to, then I imagine you would do it anyway. So pick this game up. You know, get it with it. It's a great game. It's got some side missions to go through as well, so you'll have stuff to do, you know, just clean up collectibles and stuff. Shouldn't be an issue. It'll keep you entertained for a good long while, and it's a bit of a showcase game. Now, outside of the RTX performance mode, you do have regular performance mode, which just is obviously without RTX, and it gets up to 60 frames. And then you have I can't remember what it's called. It's not performance. It's like the visual mode, if you like, the sort of one that you would show your friends to prove the graphic fidelity of your console. Now, this will go at 4K with ray tracing, but only at 30. So, and it's not 4K all of the time. It will drop down a little bit, but for most of the time, it does maintain 4K. But saying that, 4K with RTX on a console, 30 frames is nothing to be sniffed at. But it does kind of like lend credence to the whole, like, yeah, 4K 60 is kind of a pipe dream for the console. Especially if you've got technologies like RTX, in which is incredibly intensive for your graphics card, and in some scenarios for your CPU as well. So I think we're going to have a spate of games where you're going to have to choose between resolution and frame rate, which isn't surprising. I don't think anybody was expecting anything else. But certainly, I mean, I'm a guy that always goes for frame rate in those circumstances. I really have gotten used to 60, and going back to 30 is, ugh. I mean, trying to play Until Dawn is just like, ugh, nasty. Because the frame rate is so low on it. I don't think it's even 30 on that, to be honest. I have no way of measuring it on the console, but no. But in this case, you know, 1440p, 60 frames a second, some RTX in there. I'm a happy boy. That is definitely the way to play, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, let me know down below if you're planning to pick up Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, or, you know, you gonna wait for something else? I don't know what's coming. God of War, baby, at some point. I mean, it's 70 quid, so it's a big ass money wise, but it's the new normal, unfortunately. And, you know, I can't see them stepping back, certainly on first party titles, which this is one of them. It is published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. So I would expect at least the first party titles to all be £70, and some of the third party maybe not so much. But we're just going to have to see how it goes. I don't like it that it's more expensive nowadays, but everything goes up in price. So it's just what it is, really. I know it's greedy. And I don't think there's a particular argument for like, oh, well, we need more money to make the game. Well, you've already made the game by the time you start selling it. And besides which, you've had high fidelity PC games being made for years, and they've always been cheaper than their console equivalents because you don't have the licensing fee on top. So yeah, I'm not sure I buy that argument personally, but Ratchet and Clank, great game. If you got a PlayStation 5, it's a no-brainer. Go get it. If you're in the position to get a PlayStation 5 and you want one, get it, and then get this game. If you're struggling to find a PlayStation 5 or maybe don't want to get it for this game, then, you know, you don't have a choice, so whatever. Anyway, guys, that's my take on Ratchet and Clank, and I'll catch you next time.